As we continue this series on product management, I thought it'd be good to talk about something that is less discussed in the product management world, and that is what do you do when you have to deliver bad news? What do you do when you have to say something that's frustrating or that people are going to look at you and go, oh, right? I know for me that I felt that frustration. Do you also feel frustration when, as a product manager, you are the bearer of the bad news about failure, about delays, about things that have happened within the team? How can it be done in the least painful way possible? How can you deliver that news without stirring the water up too much, right? No one likes to bring the news. No one likes to talk about delays, scope limitations. But unfortunately, that's part of the product manager's job. It rests on their shoulders to update people on the development status, for better or for worse. A lot of companies rely um, on new releases for marketing, sales, account managers, support staff. Frequent, clear, and honest communication is a must. We have to get to that point. This way, the situation from making that announcement is not as likely to be painful if possible. But how do you deliver the bad news in a good way? How do you tell people their baby's ugly? How do you tell people puppies are stupid, right? Ooh, neither one of those are good. I almost said, how do you tell your wife she looks too fat in that dress? But everyone knows that's impossible, right? So, how do we get there? What do we do? I'm going to give you a few tips. So, the first tip is give the update as soon as possible. The longer you delay, the worse it's going to come across. The more time other parties have to react, the better. If you fear their reaction, provide the update right away while you feel scared, and you're going to get the results because you don't want everyone else to hear this and say, "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Right? The sooner you can get it off your chest, the sooner you can get it out there, the better. Okay, number two is one I learned from Radical Candor: never sugarcoat it. Trying to wrap the message in confusing corporate jargon, or trying to do the sandwich method, or pretending that the issue is for the best. That'll only further confuse and anger everybody else. Just say things as they are, right? Let's move on. Let's find a solution together and say, hey, this is where we are. This is what's going on. The next one's also important. Don't play the name game or the blame game, right? Maybe the development team really didn't deliver what they promised, and the PM had nothing to do with it. No one cares whose fault it is because you're the product manager. It's now your fault. You need to own it, right? It's about reducing the negative consequences and salvaging what's possible with relationships. Don't let people say, oh, well, it's all their fault. They would have done it better. Oh, my goodness. All right, the next one I call wine and cheese. So don't present a problem unless you have a clear way forward. Don't just come in with the bad news. What can we plan for the next steps? This immediately shows that you're focused on resolving a solution and not just presenting the problem itself. This is one that I tell my teams all the time. I'm like, wine and cheese, with wine spelled WHINE. I don't want to hear you just whine. If you're going to whine, at least bring a little bit of cheese. That would be a potential solution. All right, let's go to this one. This one's important. For situations that are delicate, for delicate things, I always choose a face-to-face meeting, and when I say face-to-face, whether it's in person or over a tool like Zoom or Teams, I choose that over email or chat. This shows that you care and allow the other party to ask questions using non-diplomatic wrapping. It shows that you respect those other people and that you want to be in the room with them and get the issue resolved. Okay, this one's interesting. When you figure out how things can be solved in the future or improved in the future, you're trying to prevent the oopsie, look what just happened. If you know what went wrong, make sure not to repeat the items in the future. This is hidden factoring. It costs a fortune. Perhaps something between two teams doesn't work and needs a fundamental process improvement. Perhaps we need to shift people. I've had that happen. Don't let I almost forgot that happened before happen to you, right? Here's another one. Acknowledge the feelings of trouble the other side is in. If you have true empathy without bias, that goes a long way and it can get people back on the team. All right. Here comes the next one. Don't play the victim card. You might all be in a bad way, right? Redirect your attention to what matters and don't sit there, oh, what are we going to do? We're all going to go over the cliff and die. It's just, if you're playing a victim, people never accept that well. There are exceptions where you do need to go in and be the victim for a moment or two to have the time of an individual to plant a seed. And that's a psychology play. But I just think if you're always the victim, it's never going to end well. All right, here comes the next one. Recognize if things are overpromised. Maybe the fault is really with you. You promised too much. The team couldn't deliver it. Review your past communication about what ultimately went wrong and see what could have gone better and call it out. Yeah, it was early, and in this email, I really thought we had the bandwidth to do it, but unfortunately, I realize now that was a bad call. Going forward, I have better ways or new things, new ways to gather information so it doesn't happen again. All right, let's go to the last one. Present the wider context of the problem at hand. If you need to delay a project due to an urgent change, it's not a blame game. It's changing the rules of the game in the middle of it if you have to. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you have to make adjustments, if you have to pivot, if you have to change the way you're approaching something, change it, do it. Present the wider context of what's going on and let people make decisions based on that. There are so many things here that you can do to be a better product manager. But my advice to you is whenever there's bad news to deliver, don't be so fearful. Don't be so angry about it. Just pitch it like it is. Tell people what's going on. Find equitable solutions and figure out ways that you can move forward together in the best way possible. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have a comment or if you have a topic you want us to discuss, learn more at AgileDad.com. We would love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.